Welcome to this week's episode of Nikon's Birding Adventures. This week we're in Colombia, home to nearly 20% of the planet's bird life. I'm with my good mate Rich Crossley. We're going to be heading up to the Central Andes, to Los Nevados National Park and to Rio Blanco, slightly lower elevation, but we're going to be looking for our golden bird, the Bearded Helmetcrest.
Well, I haven't been here for a couple of decades, mate, so I have no real expectations, but I'm really looking forward to it. So all I can say is,
let's go birding! No other country on earth holds more bird species than Colombia. With approximately 1,900 different birds, Colombia is home to an astonishing 20% of all avian life on the planet. The culture, food, and scenery, combined with some of the best birding in the world, make for a truly unforgettable experience. Our adventure in Colombia began with a flight from Bogota to Manizales in the Central Andes, and then a short bus ride to one of the most productive birding sites in the country, Rio Blanco, where you can find a large variety of endemics and specialty birds. Rio Blanco is also one of the best sites for antpittas, and our goal was to find as many as possible in just 3 days. After Rio Blanco, we headed higher towards Montezuma Hill, a legendary site for two very rare and endemic tanagers. And finally, we trekked higher to Los Nevados National Park in the upper Andes to search for a bizarre hummingbird, the Bearded Helmetcrest. The one really cool thing about Colombia is you literally cannot walk 20 paces without seeing a new bird. I mean, we're here, it's our second day in Colombia now, and behind us in this papaya tree is a black-billed mountain toucan feeding on the papaya. I mean, it really does not get better than this. Colombia is just such an amazing destination because, like I say, you walk 20 paces and you're seeing a new bird literally every minute of the day. Fascinating stuff. Woodpeckers are great birds no matter where you are in the world, and Colombia is no exception. We came across the stunning crimson-mantled woodpecker and staked out one of the largest woodpeckers in the world, the magnificent, powerful woodpecker. We were walking down the road and we came across this old tree trunk, and it had this beautiful hole in it, and then out flies a powerful woodpecker, one of the most magnificent of all the woodpeckers to see. It's in the genus Campophyllus, which is actually the same genus that the ivory-billed woodpecker is in. They're the largest woodpeckers in the world, that genus of woodpeckers. So I'm going to set up here with the scope. We're going to get ourselves camouflaged, and we're going to try and see if these powerful woodpeckers come back. They've obviously got excellent eyesight. Let's see if we can get them coming back to this nesting hole here. So I'm going to camouflage my gear a bit. Now it's just a case of patient waiting. Here it comes, here it comes. Yes, yes. Oh, that was spectacular. You actually see the head of the youngster poking out of the hole, looking at the adult as the adult came in. And then the adult looked as though it fed it, went into sort of messed around the hole a bit and then flew off again very quickly. Wow, that is a spectacular woodpecker. One of the largest woodpeckers in the world, a powerful woodpecker. Now, out of all the members of the Campophyllus genus, and there's 3 members that are found here in Colombia, powerful is found at the highest altitude. It's found at between 7,000 to 10,000 feet. So it's going to be right up there. In the transitional zone at about 6,000 feet, you may find powerful and lineated together, but this is the only large woodpecker at this altitude, the powerful woodpecker. What a spectacular beauty!
This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, your world leader in optics since 1917, and sponsored in part by Colombia, where the only risk is wanting to stay, and by Audubon Guides, nature at your fingertips. Guiding services provided by Birding Tours Colombia.
It's morning at Rio Blanco on the western slope of the central Andes, and this morning we're going in quest of the different species of antpitta to be found here. But you can't walk out of your room here at Rio Blanco without seeing the multitude of hummingbirds here that come into the feeders. We've had buff-tailed coronets here, we've had a whole host of different species of hummingbirds, and in particular, right now we had a long-tailed sylph come in over here with a beautiful long green tail, and my absolute favorite hummingbird of them all, the sword-billed hummingbird, came right in here. Encifera encifera, which comes from the Latin ensis, which is a sword, and ferre, to carry or to wield a sword. And you can see just how long the bill is on this hummingbird. In fact, it has the longest bill in relation to its body size to any bird in the entire world. This is such a special bird. Its bill is so long that it actually has to groom itself with its feet. So when it's preening, it can't use that bill because it's so outrageously long that it's actually using its feet to preen itself. A magnificent and very special hummingbird of this region, the sword-billed hummingbird. Now let's go find some antpittas.
This morning we're heading way up the mountainside looking for antpittas. Everything about this trip so far has been different, and this, the mode of transport, certainly is. So James, get this baby going. Let's go.
Don't hold on to me like a girl, all right?
Yeehaw!
Antpittas are some of the most sought after birds here in the neotropics. And there's no better place to view them than right here at Rio Blanco. There's a worm feeding station here where the antpittas have become accustomed to people because worms have been laid out for them in the mornings and in the late evenings. There are 4 worm feeding stations here, and up to 5 different species of these skulking antpittas can be seen in full view here at Rio Blanco. Right now this morning we've just got cracker looks at the stunning chestnut-crowned antpitta, probably one of the most beautiful of all the antpittas. It's found in Colombia, further south down into Ecuador. It has quite a large range, but what a stunner of a bird. And then we've also seen brown banded antpitta here, a very nondescript antpitta, but very important because it's an endemic antpitta found only in Colombia. I just absolutely love antpittas because they look like tennis balls with legs, these long legs. How was that for you, Richard? Awesome, huh?
Are you describing me, mate?
A tennis ball with the long legs?
Well, I have little short legs.
Yeah, so not quite, but close enough. Antpittas here in Rio Blanco. Stunning stuff. We're looking at one of the hardest to see antpittas in the world right now. This is a bicolored antpitta, and up until 5 months ago, people only heard this bird. They very, very seldom saw it. And recent advances in birding in the last few years have meant that these worm feeding stations have really enabled birders to see incredibly tough species like Hokotoco antpitta and giant antpitta in Ecuador, and now over here, bicolored antpitta right here at Rio Blanco. What a spectacular bird. You can see why it's called bicolored antpitta very, very easily. That nice russet back and that grayish belly. What a spectacular antpitta right here at Rio Blanco. Right now I'm looking at one of the hardest of the antpittas to find here, the chestnut-naped antpitta, and it's exhibiting typical antpitta breeding behavior right now, gathering as many worms as it can in that bill, and it's going to take those worms back to a nest, which is probably containing 2 to 3 baby antpittas. Sitting in these primary forests, it's very reminiscent almost of Lord of the Rings. Half expecting Gollum to show up and steal the worms. We've been really fortunate to have got 4 out of the 5 different antpitta species present here at Rio Blanco. But we have tried now for 3 mornings, 3 afternoons for Grallaricula nana, the smallest of all the antpittas that occur here and the hardest. This bird is listed as rare. It's very, very tough to find. We've got about an hour. We're going to give it one last shot this morning. Hold thumbs. There it goes. There. Right there. This is it. It's coming in. He's hopped up on the vine. I've got it coming in. This thing's so fast. Jumps up and then jumps down. Yes. Slate ground antpitta coming in. Here it comes. It's coming in. Look at it. It's just eating worms. Going crazy on the worms here. This is a tiny little antpitta, slate ground antpitta. Oh my gosh. This is the toughest of all 5 to find. We literally had 20 minutes before we've got to leave for Montezuma. And we've got it right here. Let's wait and see if it comes in again. Super fast though. Tiny little guy. Oh man, this is awesome. Yes. Slate ground antpitta. All 5 antpitta species here at Rio Blanco. This place is antpitta heaven.
This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, your world leader in optics since 1917, and sponsored in part by Colombia, where the only risk is wanting to stay. Guiding services provided by Birding Tours Colombia.
This Birding from the Edge segment is brought to you by Nikon, manufacturers of the Edge line of optics.
Count yourselves extremely lucky if you happen to come across one of the largest mammals of Colombia. In fact, the second largest mammal of Colombia, the spectacled bear. On the other side of this valley is a spectacled bear. And these are magnificent predators. It's the 3rd largest bear in the Americas after the polar bear and the brown bear. This one over here looks to be a male. They can get over 500 pounds. Females are about 1/3 smaller, but this is a really big spectacled bear. This is Birding from the Edge. It's morning at Montezuma, early morning. We've got up before light. We're heading up in these 4x4s about an hour and a half from here to look for 2 highly endangered tanager species. These birds are highly localized and found nowhere else in the world. Let's go birding.
Vamos a pajarear.
I don't know, I think every single rib has been fractured. I don't know, because it's so tough. You've got to watch out for your teeth. So if you watch out for your teeth, then your ribs suffer. And if you watch out for your ribs, then your teeth suffer. So I think I prefer my teeth, so I'm just going to go with cracked ribs for the rest of the trip.
Oh, that's a rib. Rib crusher.
These cars look like something out of the Cars movie. Like those little comet cars, those big eyes. They've got those little mouths and they're going, ah, ah, please don't take me up here, ah.
this is what it's all about. It's not so much about the actual birds themselves, but it's so often about the journey to get to those birds. That's why we call this show Birding Adventures, because there's never a dull moment. We've now come up higher in quest of two particularly rare tanagers. The black and gold tanager, which is listed as vulnerable, and then the very, very special gold ring tanager.
First up was the black and gold tanager, which is generally found at lower elevations than the gold ring tanager. The black and gold has a tiny distribution and is severely threatened by habitat loss. It has this contrasting yellow and black plumage with a conspicuous blue wing bar. We then went higher for the gold ring tanager, an even rarer and more threatened species.
It's pretty much been raining all day here. This very light seeping rain, which is characteristic of this cloud forest. But right up here, we have a gold ring tanager. Finally, after about 2 to 3 hours of searching, we've actually got one. And this bird is just in a little mist belt over here, and it's actually preening, displaying itself quite nicely. And if you look very, very carefully, you'll see on the face it's got that perfect gold ring on the face, which gives it its name. And this bird is so special because it's only found in a very, very narrow band at about 5,500 feet of altitude. Any higher than that, you're unlikely to see it, and any lower than that, you're also unlikely to see it. And the fact that it's only found in 3 or 4 localities means that the preservation of that habitat is vitally important. Here in Tatamar National Park, this is one of the prime localities for this highly endangered species. Probably one of the rarest of all the tanager species right here in Colombia, in Tatamar National Park.
This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, the world leader in optics since 1917, and sponsored in part by Hobie Polarized Sunglasses, the world's best polarized sunglass, and sponsored in part by Colombia, where the only risk is wanting to stay. Guiding services provided by Birding Tours Colombia.
And sponsored in part by Wingscapes, manufacturers of the bird cam. We're at 12,000 feet this morning in Los Nevados National Park in the central Andes, just outside the city of Manizales. This park is absolutely spectacular for many reasons, but for one reason in particular, we are here this morning to search for a bizarre and very unique hummingbird called the Bearded Helmetcrest. Let's go birding. So we've just stepped out the vehicle, and literally 5 minutes later, we've come across our target species here, the Bearded Helmetcrest. And Daniel, you tell me sometimes you can actually miss this bird up here, right?
Oh yes, if it's rainy or misty, or if the flowers are not bloomed, he may not be around.
Okay, great. And this is such a special and unique hummingbird for several reasons. Firstly, unlike other hummingbirds, it's got a very tiny short bill. And that tiny short bill is used to predominantly gather insects rather than to gather pollen from trees. And these yellow flowers behind me over here are the favorite feeding grounds of the Bearded Helmetcrest. And what he's doing here, he's actually not particularly going for the pollen, but he's actually going for the insects that are coming in to the pollen and to the nectar. Very low nectar yield from these plants. The other reason that makes this hummingbird so special is the fact that it has much larger feet and legs than other hummingbirds. And the reason for that is it actually spends quite a lot of time on the ground looking for insects. So you can be out there looking for Bearded Helmetcrests, expecting to see it on top of trees, where it is most of the time, but occasionally you'll see it right on the ground, hopping around looking for insects. Hummingbirds naturally have large lungs because they have very, very high metabolisms, and they have to fly and beat those wings at incredible speeds to stay aloft in flight. So it's a natural transition for hummingbirds over time, to come up to this altitude, to have those large lungs already, which are well suited to this rarefied air. Even still, hummingbirds like bearded helmetcrests will minimize the amount of time that they actually spent in flight. And you'll often see them perched on top of trees. You'll see them feeding, sitting, just like Chimborazo or Ecuadorian hill stars do, sitting on the flowers and feeding rather than hovering like hummingbirds would do at lower altitudes. I'm here with Richard Crosley. It's the first time he's seen bearded helmetcrest. Tell me how that was for you, Rich.
Bloody brilliant, mate. I mean, it's such a stunning bird. The habitat here is fantastic. It's hard to believe we're 12,000 feet and fog rolling in, it's like I'm back in England. So just an incredible bird, an incredible atmosphere. Really great, mate.
Feeling right at home.
Feeling right home.